Okay. Let us see. Okay, it's showing up on here. Let's see. Okay. I don't know if anybody could hear. Don't know. Oh, I think so. Okay. Okay. I think I have all that fixed up now. And we'll see what happens. So, what I need to figure out is which sticker I want to do today. I have two. Let me, hold on. Okay. So I have two to choose from today. Black and white Tegu or the Ornate box turtle. So let's see. I think I'm gonna open up both files just so I can look at them and try to decide what it is that I want to do. Okay, yeah, that's working. This is my first ever live stream using YouTube and on this account and everything. So I'm hoping that I set it all up correctly. But I'm not entirely sure that I did. So I'll just continue on and see how it goes. So this is the Ornate box turtle that we have open currently. And then we also have our black and white Tegu. As you can see, I already made the file and I have added in reference images to both. I'm kind of feeling like I might want to do the turtle first. So what I need to do is, well, first of all, this is the old file for a lizard that I did. So I'm just gonna get rid of that. And I'm going to go over to a pencil. I'm gonna go to red for my color. And I'm gonna end up sketching out how I want this little guy to look. So I'm gonna decide what reference image I like for making the sticker. Okay, I like this one. And I like this one. Those are kind of the two that I'm liking right now. Which one would be good for a sticker? I kind of like this one, I think. So I think I'm gonna do this one as my Ornate box turtle sticker. I was supposed to do this live stream a little bit ago, but I didn't end up having time to do it. Okay, let me zoom in. So now I'm kind of trying to catch up. So here's this little claw, and here's a little claw. Here's a little claw. What I like to do is I like to kind of copy an image like this to get the shape that I want for my little guy. And then sometimes I'll make adjustments if I don't quite like how it's turning out. Once I hide the image, the reference. So let me kind of copy this right here. Goes kind of like that. Then I do like to add in the line for the scoot to make sure I'm still being accurate, but I'm not super hyper realistic accurate, but with turtles I like to make sure that I'm doing their scoots correctly. So let's see, and then his little eyelid will go like this. And we'll figure out exactly how to do the eye in our style that we have going on when we get to that part. But I just like to, and I always add a little smile on mine. So that's gonna be his little smile. And then here's his little nose. And this guy, it looks like he kind of has a pattern that kind of goes like that. So I want to make sure that I get that. And I actually think his neck goes a little more like this. I'm gonna add in his little wrinklies right here. Like this. And then I'll see if I actually want to keep those or not. Right. Go like that maybe. Okay. Then let me add his other arm is kind of back here. He's got it kind of turned outward, so we don't really see it that well. So we'll see how we end up doing that. But I want to make sure that we have his little arm at least copied into our sketch, so that we can mess around with how we want it to be. Okay. And then I'm gonna kind of go like that for that part of the shell, the belly part. And it looks like the rim of his shell goes kind of like this. And then I know back here it gets kind of blurry, but it should go like this. Which, this is also where the other references will come in handy. To kind of blend together to make sure that our turtle looks correct. Kind of goes like that. And then he's got his little back foot kicked out. And I can see his claws are like this. I don't know if you guys can see his claws very well or not. His little toenails, but they're kind of like that. And then his little foot. His little foot's like this. And it looks like he's got a little roll like that on his foot. Okay. Now I'm going to draw in these, try to be accurate. Because again, even though we're kind of stylized, I like for them to at least be as accurate as they can be. Now up here would be a little bit harder to figure out, so let me kind of close this one and let's kind of see how And our other ones, they're segmented. Okay. Okay, I think I got it. So it's kind of like one would be right here, and then there would be one right there. This one, oop, no, I didn't like that. This one would be right here, like so. Looks like that one would be kind of like that. That one's kind of like that, but I don't. Maybe like that. I actually think this one's like kind of like that. That looks a little weird though, especially when we go like this. That doesn't look quite right. So I don't like that. Let's see. This might also be where I end up looking up more references. So that I can really make sure that I'm trying to be as accurate as I can be. Because I don't want it to just be like a made-up turtle. Let's see. How's this image look? I can't. No, go away. I'm trying to look at this right here. I'll pull it over for you guys. I'm looking at this on my second monitor so that I can see how the shell is supposed to look on the back. But I have that on my second monitor, so that's what I'm looking at. Okay. Let me go back to this. What I'm gonna do, it's not like these up here. Those look not like how I want them to look. Let me go back to my pencil. It looks kind of like this one kind of ends right there, maybe. So I'm gonna kind of have it go maybe like that. And then I think that means that this top one would be kind of no, I don't like that. Maybe it would just be like this. Doesn't look right either. The tops are always hard to figure out for me. Because I definitely think, no, I definitely think that this one's gonna go like that, and that one's gonna go like that, and then the top ones are always kind of like squish. They're a different shape than the side ones. But it always ends up kind of messing with my head a little bit. Let's see. This is a cute little image. Maybe I'll show it to you guys. I'm not using this for reference, but no, stop. Look at this little look at the little baby biting his finger. That's so funny. Okay, that's not a reference image for me to figure out the top of the turtle shell, but that was just really cute. Okay. Yeah, they're just kind of weird little blobs up on the top, which always kind of, like I said, messes with me, but maybe I should just go like that. Or maybe like that. Because that will kind of be, I mean, that kind of looks like how some of these look. Okay, so I think we have our sketch pretty much done. I'm gonna just come in here and go like this, just so we have his eyeball. Let's see, anything else I feel like I need to add on our sketch? Not necessarily. So now what I end up doing is I'm going to put a new layer, and I'm going to change my brush. There we go, change the size. I'm gonna close these over here tabs. And excuse me, I'm yawning. I wonder if I should have put some description stuff in my live stream description. The designs for the new and I'll just do Tegu stickers. Hashtag. Hashtag. Sure. Hashtag. I don't even know if hashtags actually help anything. Sure. Oh, I just closed that tab. I hope it didn't mess everything up. No, I don't think it did. I think that we're still here. Okay. Let me come back over. Now, I hope that my brush is going to behave itself. That's my one worry. Because this brush sometimes does not want to behave itself. I might start back here on his little foot. His little foot. Back here. Start on his little nails. One thing is that when it is time to do the color, I'll need to make sure that I have everything on the right layer with each other. But his little nails are the same color as his body, so that's okay to have together. Okay, I don't really know if I like how I did that crease right there. Let me save. Another thing is that I very sporadically save because I do not want to lose any of my progress. That's one thing that I've always kind of done. And then when in college for my degree, which is video game art, you needed to save a lot because the software would end up just suddenly crashing. And if you hadn't saved recently enough, you would end up losing your whole 3D model, which was devastating. So that was definitely one thing that a lot of teachers were always telling you, was that you had to save all the time, no matter what. Okay, I'm going to actually, now that I'm getting to some of my curvy stuff, I'm gonna change up there the smoothing, because that will help me control my line better. Let me scoot over a little bit more this way. I am I'm left-handed, so my hand will end up getting in the way of me seeing, because I have my monitor to my left, which you might be able to figure out how my hand then becomes in my way. Yeah, I don't like how this looks back here. I'm gonna erase that. Okay, I'll figure out if I want to add a crease back here again or not later. But for now, I'm gonna leave that out, actually, because I did not like how that looked. Now let's see. Let me do this foot. Little nub. And I'll have to figure out how I want that to be. I actually might want I might want you to see like some little tips of toenails, maybe. I don't know. I'll leave them off for now, though. Until I until I have everything else drawn out, I guess is what I will say. Now let's see. I'm going to start up here and then go like that. And I'm constantly changing back and forth between having my sketch visible and hiding it so that I can see how the outline's coming along without the without the thread of the sketch kind of distracting me. I apologize if you heard that loud sneeze. That just came out of nowhere. And I did not have time to mute that. Okay, I like those, so I'm gonna leave them like they are. There we go. Ooh, I think that came out good. Let's see. Yeah, look at that little face already. Oh, he's so cute. I love the little beaks that turtles have. Let's try to add his little nose. That might be too big. I might want to go in with my eraser instead of just redrawing it and just kind of shave it down that way. Because I liked the position and everything else of it. I just didn't want it to be quite as big and pronounced as it was. Okay. That looks like that might be a good eyelid. Kind of has a long tail though. Let's see. Yep. Okay. That might be good. And the eye, I'm gonna save. For a little bit later. Let me do that. Head shape in the back, like so. Oh my gosh, he's looking so cute. I don't know if you guys are feeling that or not, but I'm feeling how cute he is already. Okay. And that might be all of the skin outlined. I could do his little, this. Beak he had going on. You see it? Hold on. Did you see it? That shape right there. That's what I was doing. Okay. So now let me do his eye. And how I do the eye is I just make my brush as big as it needs to be until it will fill in the eye the size that I want it to be, and then let me actually change that. This is going to be the eye shine, the little white spot that I put on his eyeball. I'm going to go back to the outline. Let me move these guys below that. Swap back over to black. And then let me see if I can. Ooh, no, I don't like that. Okay. It's gonna be something kind of like that. Get my sketch out of the way. Let me come in with my eraser. I also tend to alternate between using my pen for my, this is a Huion monitor actually, that I draw on. So I go in between using my pen for it and my mouse, which I don't know if everybody else does that or not. It might be a little strange, kind of unique to me. Again, I'm not entirely sure. But there we go. Perfect. Oh, I think that's so cute. But even though I learned to draw in Photoshop and Illustrator, I drew a lot in MS Paint. And drawing in MS Paint, you do that on your mouse. So I am still very comfortable drawing with my mouse. And sometimes I end up finding that to get the right control that I'm wanting, I need my mouse, which again might be a little silly, but that's just, that ends up being what happens. Okay, that part of the shell, actually, I was copying it and then I realized that that's behind the body. I might leave it on my sketch or in my outline for now though, because some of this is gonna be going behind the body and then some of it is gonna be in front of the body. So I'm gonna have to figure out which way I want to have everything kind of masked together. Which I do feel like I don't do the most efficient sometimes. But these also are 4-inch stickers, so there's not going to be a whole lot of people seeing if I have something going on where the colors are kind of layered on top of each other incorrectly, like where a skin outline is on top of a shell piece in the wrong spot. But I do try to avoid that happening. It's just sometimes it happens, or I don't catch it. Okay. Get that like so. And then this goes... No. And then this goes... No. Let's try this again. And this, no, that's already wrong. And this goes... No, I don't like that. Okay, I'm moving to a different spot for right now. Hold on. Let's do this. I'm right at the edge of my wall. Okay. And normally I would come and kind of try to smooth this out, which no, I'm not going to, because it's a box turtle, so it does need to be boxy. That adds to boxy. It's just for turtle. I'm like, oh no, it's not rounded enough. But this is a box turtle. It doesn't need to be. Okay, let me try to go this way. Okay, I think that's gonna work better. But I had my arm in a weird spot. Yes. Because then I can come in. And smooth that out the way I want it to be. Okay. Jump back over to my sketch. Ooh, no, bad. Okay. Okay. Yes. Scoot over. Mm-hmm. Excellent. Go like that. And this last one kind of goes like this. There we go. The kind of trim pieces of the shell. Beautiful. Let me actually... Can't really tell. Let me... That doesn't tell me anything either. It's not really telling me. That's not really telling me. Okay. None of those told me what I was trying to figure out. I was trying to figure out this right here, this spot. Ooh, which actually... Yeah, okay. I might just kind of go like, this is where I kind of take artistic liberty a little bit sometimes. And I'm gonna go like that for the little belly part. Let's come back over to our sketch. And now this is where I'm gonna do the back part of the shell, which I was having trouble with during the sketch. So we'll see how it goes. And turn off the sketch. Yeah, actually that looks fine. Okay, cool. Now, what I'm gonna do, which will make this next part easier for me, is I am going to add a filter on my layer where I can adjust the outline. And I don't really know necessarily what color it needs to be for the skin. I'm just getting it kind of close for right now. And then the shell is probably going to be something kind of like that. Which doesn't help a whole lot. But now, this is kind of where I'm needing to figure out how I'm gonna do. I actually think this part of the skin needs to be with the shell. Now that I'm looking at it. Let's see, how do I want to do this? Well, first let me adjust the skin color just a little bit. Not a crazy amount, but just so that I can figure out what I'm doing. And then I think how I'm gonna do it this time is I'm gonna do it like this. Where kind of go like this. So what I'm doing is I'm erasing the part that I don't need to be in front of the skin. Like that. And then what I think I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to, on the skin, I'm gonna go like this. Copy that. I'm gonna move this up. Put that back down like that. I'm going to go like this and then actually stop that. Merge that down. Go like that. And I think that's how I'm gonna do that. And then I'll just have it be kind of like, nope, should be like this. Like this. Yeah. Okay. I think maybe it should be, maybe it needs to be more down here where that happens. I don't know. Don't know if that actually makes sense to do it like that. What I think I actually need to do, hold on. Well, wait a second. Sorry. What I think I need to do though is I need to pin, come on, work please. Is I think I need to have like a creasy part like that. Because he is kind of like wrinkly. So it does kind of need to be something like that though, but I don't know if that's exactly how I want that to be. Maybe it should be more like that. That makes more sense, I think. So I'm gonna have it like that. And I think that that's our outlines done on this part. So now what I'm gonna do this was the back part of the shell. Now what I'm gonna do is I need to do what I call the base colors. So skin, base color. And I'm gonna open up my reference image. And I'm gonna click through all of them actually. And see need to see kind of what color I want to pull from for this base color. And I think it's gonna end up being kind of like this color. Let's see, what do I want the base color? I might do it as the darker color. I might do the darker color as the base color for the skin. And then I will add in the pattern and everything that's in the lighter color. We don't need our smoothing on for this anymore, so I'm going to turn that off. And I'm just going to kind of outline around where we did our outline. Like so. And this way I can then use my fill bucket fairly easy. Although sometimes I'll just hand color in everything. Kind of depends. And I actually need to go in my shell outline and Or, well, actually I'll just move this all the way back. No, I'm not gonna do that actually. I'll just come in here. I'll just erase that little piece that's sticking out. And again, like this, for whatever reason, on this part, I end up using my mouse. But then on these little pieces that stick out in the nail, I'll use my brush, my pen, to color that part in. Then I end up doing the same thing here. That's too close to the edge. You don't want it too close to the edge, or else when you use your fill bucket, it will go through. Right here, I got a little too close. Switch back over to my brush. Color in these little toes. I think that kind of went through a little bit. That's fine. Okay. Got the skin. The base color of the skin blocked in. Which we can always adjust the actual color of it later. Then what I'll end up doing is I'll make a mask on our next layer. This will be our pattern. And I will pull maybe that color. That seems like a good color. And now I gotta figure out how to do the skin color, the pattern it's got going on. Oops. So it seems kind of like okay. It's kind of like, obviously it has spots on its arms. As you can see on that one, really good. Got spots on the arms. The head's a little bit more where the light color is. It seems like this kind of got squiggly pattern down its neck. I'm gonna kind of block this out. Seems like the beak part, definitely. Definitely the light color. Oh, no, can't do that. Okay. Well, beak, light. Just gonna color it in. then I'm gonna kind of just go like this. Squiggly thing happens right there. Yeah, weird squiggle like that. All this down here seems kind of like it's light. All of this part of its neck. Kind of following under the chin. Like that. That kind of seems correct. Get rid of this. Didn't mean to do that. And then it looked kind of like this over here was also light. And the little toenails are light. So let me just kind of go like that. Go round that out a little bit more, like that. Round that a little bit more. I'll color in the toenail. Like so. Color in these little toenails. There we go. And what I might actually do, so I'm gonna copy that. I'm gonna turn that one off. Because it also kind of seemed like to me that this part around the arm and the neck, this part and this part kind of blurred. So I'm gonna just delete all of that. And I'm gonna put a blur effect, a Gaussian blur. And I'm gonna kind of might do that one. And this will be my blur layer for the skin. Oops. See. If I do that. Don't want to do it that way. I might do it this way, actually. So that there's not any of that weird. Blurring going on. Let's see. Okay. Do it this way, maybe. I think I'm gonna just do it like that. Okay. Don't know if this is gonna be making any sense. To how you guys would be doing it. But this is what's making sense to me. Where's my blending tool? Here it is. Or blur. I'll just kind of blur this. Blur that out. Blur, blur. Blur, blur, blur. Okay. Guess I should have done it like that. No. I think that's fine. Let me take a sip of water. Okay. Okay. I'd gotten some texts that I had to answer. Let me type in that. Well, let's see. This is all supposed to be in there. Okay, there we go. I was trying to look at this, his little face, and I didn't have my layers properly grouped. Okay. Let me continue kind of drawing in some more of the pattern. Excuse me, little thing, will you please work? Okay, he's got some little kind of dots like that. Then I'm gonna have this whole thing up here be light. And I might end up going kind of like this and coloring all of this in. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to make a layer over top of it. That is, I guess let me do it this way, actually. Okay. And then I'm going to draw in kind of the little segments. I'm gonna have this on, but I'm gonna kind of turn it down a little bit. And then oop. Oh, my brush size is like really big. Okay, there we go. Then yeah, I'm going to do it like this. Got some kind of funny little shapes. And some that look a little more like circles. And then I have this little smile right here, so I'm actually gonna cut this one. Cut that one up. Do it like that. I don't know how many I want to end up doing. Of this. I'll kind of round those out a little bit around the edge. Maybe I'll put a little baby one right there. And then I think I'm going to make this kind of the edge of it. Maybe. Or maybe I shouldn't do that like that though, actually. Oops, I draw a tiny spot in that. There we go. Maybe I'll actually do it like this. Like that. Maybe I should have it be a little more circly right there. Okay. Now I need to figure out how far to continue this. I'm gonna say that kind of fades out, maybe. Which I'm not entirely sure how I'm gonna do that. Maybe I'll kind of do it like this. I don't know. Uh-oh, my pin's starting to make its little wispies. Okay. Maybe I'll do it like this though. Maybe that makes sense, kind of. I don't know. We might come back to that. That might be too much going on his face. Oops. I like kind of rounding out patterns, but I don't always know if it's necessary to do that. I do think I need to come up to my skin outline and there's a crease right here that I had been unsure about adding, but I think I'm gonna add it to his head. I think that will help. Yeah, I don't know. It might end up being too much. I'm gonna leave it off for now, actually. I know I just spent a lot of time doing that, but I don't know if I need that actually. So I'm gonna leave it off. I'm in the wrong layer. And I'm going to grab this and I'm gonna add the little dots that he's got on his arm for now. Because while I want him to be close to realistic, like accurate, I don't want too much going on. I don't want it to get too busy. So I'm going to do these little spots, and I might end up doing the rest of him and then kind of toggle those skin details on and off and see how I feel about it. Okay, that's that little arm. Cute. Let's do this little arm. Add in the little spots on this arm. Like so. Might put one right here. Maybe one right there. I don't know. That looks good. There should be some on his back foot. It's a little hard to see though. So I'll just kind of put a little bit. Maybe like that. Or let's put one more maybe right there. Like that. I'll call this yellow dots. Very descriptive. Okay, cute. I might actually it kind of looked like his little toes went like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and add that. I'm not sure if that's correct or not, but it's kind of what it looked like was happening. So let's do that. Oh man, my little dot right there is in the way. Let me move it. Because I do still want that little dot. But I'm gonna move it. Maybe I'll move it right there. I might put another little dot. Right there. Okay. Let us, I guess maybe let us do the shell. We're going to group this. Oop. I'm gonna group this. This will be called skin. And guess I'll start with the yellow. Which is all of the underbelly. And I'll just use my eraser to clean that up. Okay. And then let me use my eraser on the outline. Okay. All of the underbelly of the shell. Let me clean that up. And then I'll have to see what color I choose. For the actual back part of the shell. Underbelly. Okay. Okay, I know that I have this color as the outline, and I know that the shell is pretty dark. Where'd that color just go? I don't want it to be too dark though. I might do this color. It's a little purpley. Maybe this color. Yeah, maybe that color. Although yeah, I think that color is probably good. I'm gonna do like I did with all the previous things and outline or follow the outline. Now I still need to adjust the color of the skin outline. That's obviously not the right color. But it was helping us figure out a lot of our other stuff, having it be that color. Okay, fill that in. All right, our little box turtle is starting to come together a lot better than he had been. I don't know if it will be better to have a light color to kind of follow the lighter of the skin, maybe. Maybe, maybe not. We can mess around with that some more later. I wonder if I need to do it this way, actually. I didn't have it. Like that. Oh, I didn't realize I had. Oh, okay, I see. Okay, well, there's that. And I'll continue messing with it as we continue to get our stuff sorted out. Okay. Let me take a sip of water. Really needed that water sip. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do this star shapey stuff up here. And what I might do is I might just do that. And let me put on some smoothing and grab my pin. I'm just gonna kind of go like this. Oh no, my pin's messing up. hate when it does that. My pen. It's not entirely. I'm not entirely sure actually what it is that the problem is. So I can't even really say. Maybe one right there. I'll just kind of do that, I guess. Yeah, I think that looks good. Let me clean up in between. In betwixt. Like that. Yeah, I think that looks nice. And then there's also some stuff that ends up happening on these trim pieces. So I kind of want to figure out how that is. It kind of looks like it just goes shoo shoo on that one. This one kind of does the same kind of deal. Kind of the same deal on that. That one is doing the opposite, but that's also a drawing. Somebody else did. So I might do some of that on here because it does kind of look like it does it a little bit. Come on, pen. I do have another one. This is the new one. Let me change over to pressure actually, so I can draw these in the way that I want them to be. This one kind of looks like it goes like that. So I might just do it like this. Don't need any smoothing anymore. Just gonna color these in. Color these in like so. do any more yellowy stuff. There was one that kind of was like right here. That was like, like that, but I don't know. If I should do them all the way around or not. I think that's just too much. I don't think I'm gonna do that. I think I'm gonna go in with my eraser though. Might actually just carry that up. Like that. Okay. Try to smudge that out just a little bit more. I don't really think it makes a huge difference, especially on the sticker, but I just want to make sure that's as smudged as I want it to be. Okay, I'm gonna delete that because I think I've decided I don't want that. Now some ornate box turtles, these little yellow dots on the arms are orange. I don't know if I want to do that or not. I quite like them being yellow, but I might go ahead and just kind of... Oh, that is kind of cute. Let me come conduct some more research again on my other screen. Ooh, that one has like red ones. Seeing a lot of I don't think that's a royalty-free thing. Let me see what the heck happened. Okay. Guess we're just gonna be over there on that right now. Okay, I think I'm gonna do orange. I think is what my research has told me. So, oh, I didn't name this. Okay, now what I need to do is I need to do the shadows and highlights. And the shine. So shadow, highlight, shine, oh, shine. Oh, I didn't spell that correctly either. Okay, there we go. Now, I am going to increase my brush size. Actually, I'm going to delete that first. I think I might do it this way. I don't always do it this way. I kind of want to see how it does when I do it this way. So I'm going to follow where there should be shadows happening on the body. Kind of like that. There might should be some right there. Maybe some right there. Probably some right there. Okay, hold on. There should probably be some right there. Okay, I'm gonna start with that. Gaussian blur. And I'm gonna mask. I'm gonna erase the things that need to be erased, which is the part that should not have shadow. see if I can blur this out. I can. Awesome. Okay. Let me come over here. Erase this part that I need to erase. And then what I normally do is I make it a soft light. Soft light shadow. Let me do the same with this one, and actually I'm gonna go ahead and delete these and then add it back when I am ready. So then what I do is I'm going to put a highlight right here. I might put one right there. I'm gonna put one on his little nose. I might just go have it be like that. Go put some right there. There. Maybe I'll do it kind of like this. Maybe like that. Let's blur. Now this one, yeah, I'm gonna do soft light again. Mask. Cute. Now with the shine, I'm gonna save that for when I'm doing it with the shell. So shadow, highlight, shine, shadow. Let me come over here to this one and start adding in our stuff. Remove that little piece that was sticking out. I might just kind of follow the whole edge of this. There, it should be like that. Okay, and this one I'm gonna need to do multiple layers, so let me go ahead and do this one. And erase that, because then I need to make another layer. And I need to do this part. And then let me blur that. Okay. I'm gonna merge that down with the other one. Then I'll need to do another layer again. And I'll probably also, well, I don't know, I might not need to do any more after this, actually. Let's see, I like to do kind of like that. I don't know if this is going to make any sense. Yeah, I'll need to do some more layers. Merge that down, do another one. Because I want his shell to look like all the segments are .3D and not just flat. So let us do that. I'm turning off the other layer just for the moment so I can see what I'm doing. Okay. Oop. Missed that part right there. Okay. Merge that down. Probably need to do at least one more. I might go ahead and have that shadow follow a little bit further up the neck. Okay. I think that's all for the shadows. And then we need to change that to be soft light. Let's move on to our highlights. I want a big highlight right here on this one. The other ones can have kind of smaller highlights. I want that one to have a big one. Might even do a little extra, like so. Okay, I think I'm gonna start with that. I wanna just see what it looks like. Nice. On that one I'm gonna do an overlay instead of a soft light. Okay, but let me do the rest of our highlight. I think it's gonna be a little more like this. Let's see, filter. Yeah. right on the rim, but not on that. I'm actually probably gonna just cut it right off right there. That might look a little weird, actually. Maybe I'll do like that. Maybe that will work. Yeah, that works. You do that. Okay, let me write that down. And apologize for yawning. I might put just a tiny highlight on these. Then I might do the same for these up here. Kind of be like. Like that, maybe. Then you make sure it's not going into the shadow on the other shell segment. Okay, maybe it should be like that. Oh, I forgot to merge down. I was like, why is this not working? I forgot. Okay, now let us do. There we go. Ooh, yeah, that looks nice. Okay. And now that we've done all of that, we can go on to our shine, which I actually use this brush for, which I've adjusted the shape dynamics of to be a little bit more how I want it to be. So let us see. Let's do a little bit right here. And then let's do some right here, maybe. I want to do some right here, I think. And then for this, we do a Gaussian blur again, but we just do a little bit. Just do a little bit. Yeah, I think that that's probably as much as I'll do for that. Because also it doesn't really show up on the yellow. So there's not really any point in doing it all over the place on the yellow. Now let's come down here and do that again. But on the skin. And I'm gonna actually do one right here. I know we didn't put a highlight right here, but I feel like it will need a little bit of this texture right there. Put some right here. Put some right here. Might put a little bit more in the center right here. There. Put some on the little toes back here. Put some right there. Okay, that might be as much as I do on this part. Let's see. That, and then I'm actually going to, I might do this. I just want to see. Yeah, I think I like that. So this is the shine for the darker part. And then this is the shine for the lighter part. And I ended up doing different overlays for that. I'm gonna put this as pattern shine. Okay. And now we put on our stroke, which is a 25-point stroke. And I think that he's done. I think that's how he's gonna look. Let's see. I might lasso this part and blur out this part a little bit more. Let's see. That didn't do a whole lot, but I feel like that looks better. Okay, well, I do kind of feel like he might be done. So I'm going to export him out, which is on my other screen. And I do a PNG so that the transparency shows up. And let me show you guys what that looked like. Ornate box turtle. Here you go. This is our ornate box turtle. And I think he turned out really cute. I think that there's enough of the original reference that everybody can know what it is. But I don't think that it ended up being too much going on. Because my stuff's a little bit simple but still realistic. So I think that we accomplished that effectively. And this was our first live stream. Let's see. We've been on for 2 hours. I need to take a break. We still have our black and white Tegu we need to do, but I need to take a little bit of a break, and then I might come back to doing that. Because sitting at my computer, going in and out of layers and going between my mouse and my pen, I kind of need to stand up, look at some other stuff. I even need a little bit of a snack. So I'm probably gonna go and do that. And I will see when I come back to do our next little sticker. But I hope that you guys liked following me do this little box turtle. See my process. You got to see it's not entirely super smooth. Like especially with the face, you saw I started doing too much and then I decided against it, which I think was the right choice. I like his little smirk that he's got going on. That's cute. Yeah, I think that that's a really cute box turtle that we did. So I will see you guys in the next live stream. I'll probably make a post, like a community post about it, but I'm not gonna have a video for the April and probably not for the May flower art prints, because I'm in a temporary office while I'm still getting things slowly moved, and I don't really feel like I can video the way that I would want to in it. So I'll make a post about that, and I will still be doing my little TikToks and Instagrams of them. I just don't think that I'll be able to do a YouTube video for them. But maybe for the May one, I can live stream drawing that as well. If it end up being a good idea to live stream this stuff. So just wanted to update you guys on that. But I'm gonna go and drink some more water. Probably eat a snack. Definitely take a break. And I will see you guys in the next live stream for sure, because I'll be doing live streams more. So bye YouTube. See you guys to do the black and white Tegu.